Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is December the 30th, 2019. Strong hand. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. In motion. 5-digit realm. Value your wealth in Bitcoin. One Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin. Offended by selling. Unconfiscatable. Compete. Don't complain. Conviction. All right, dudes. Long-term thinking. Keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that a lot today. Hello, my elite friends. If you got questions, I got answers. There'll be time for Q&A today. So do a super chat. Type in Bitcoin Meister. So I'll see your question. You don't have to do a super chat. You can just type in Bitcoin Meister. It's that simple. All right. And oh yeah, I said the question thing. Check out Fridays This Week in Bitcoin Show. Gabriel Devine was on. Rocky was on. Guy Swan. We talked a little Lightning Network. Saturday show, Bitcoin Rabbi. Sunday, there were 2 shows. I gave you 2 shows yesterday, including Beyond Bitcoin. So check out the archives. Follow me on Twitter, TechBalt, TechBalt, disruptmeister.com, all my old shows, and a lot of them are linked to below. So we're going to start off with the news of the day. Well, here's a little flashback for you from what day was this? May the 22nd, 2013, almost 7 years before the 2020 halving. Russia Today made this video, and there are 3 guys on it. One is definitely a no-coiner. One is Amir Taki. He's a big Bitcoiner. He's done some wild things since then. But you can see, you got to watch this video, especially the first 8 minutes or 10 minutes of it. Ed Butowski looks silly. He is saying how complicated Bitcoin is. It's growing slowly. He is giving these really lame no-coiner excuses that in that day, in that time period, were accepted by everyone. They did not understand that things would grow. Well, Ed, at least the Ed type of no-coiner, and that things would get simpler and that more people would get into Bitcoin. He's how many people know about it now? Oh, this, and governments can stop it. The excuses, the no-coiner excuses. And you can go back to this video and you can see how the no-coiner excuses have evolved since then. By the way, Amir Taki starts screaming from the very beginning. He's screaming. It's pretty wacky videos. Something to check out. But clearly not much long-term thinking on the no-coiners part there on Ed Butowski. And this Ed Butowski guy does some pretty legitimate financial work. Otherwise, he didn't. And it just shows you guys who understand. He's got a good grasp on cost of living. I'm actually going to talk about him on Saturday's show. He's got a good way of measuring cost of living, how it's been going up, at least for 80%ers who spend. But he did not. He questioned Bitcoin, and Amir right away was saying that this is something that's uncensorable. I can send money to, I guess he said Iraq. I don't even know what he said. But again, no long-term thinking there, and it's kind of funny. The price of Bitcoin was under $100 then? Who knows? And to imagine 7 years from that date, basically, is the Bitcoin 2020 halving. And that Ed guy looks real silly. I mean, if that Ed guy would have gotten 10 Bitcoin then, for a total of $700 or something, or $1,000, whatever it would have cost, $100 a piece. Oh man, he'd be sitting pretty in definitely in 2020. So, how silly are the excuses from 2019 going to look in 2025 and 2026? Just put it in perspective. Long-term thinking. Pound that like button. Okay, we did have someone over there in the chat say something. Roman Q, my buddy. Any plans to do some more Bitcoin-focused episodes in 2020? Great question. Yes, there are going to be some. Definitely I've got 1,500 shows, over 1,500 shows in the archives, and I'd like to bring some of them back, just shorter versions of them so people can focus, because I know a lot of people don't have attention spans at all, and they can't like actually click on disruptmeister.com and actually watch the old shows. I have to like bring the old shows back. So yeah, there definitely will be some Bitcoin focus episodes. I have a bunch on the drawing board, actually. I've had them sitting around for a while. Obviously, there's going to be one that involves King of the Trolls. It's not going to be called Bitcoin Focus, though. It's a part of a new series that's like Bitcoin Focus. Okay, I see people. I can see someone said my name there, but you got to type in Bitcoin Meister, dude. I don't know if you're talking about me or asking me a question or whatever. Moving on, but I'm glad to see the elite friends there. And again, we're going to have time for questions because Adam Meister is in motion. Adam Meister brings you a new show every day, but there are a lot of people that are totally on vacation. They're not talking Bitcoin. I don't know where they are, what they're doing. So on Twitter, it's pretty silent today. But still, I've got you some news and info here. So let us move on. Oh, we're getting closer to that halving hype. And as you know, I do have the best guest in the space on the show. And every This Week in Bitcoin is great. And who knows who will be on it this Friday. Literally, I don't know who will be on it yet. But a past guest is David Nage. And he wrote something for CoinDesk this week. And I linked to it below. And usually I don't read CoinDesk stuff, but David Nage is awesome and very smart. So let me quote. And this is also about long-term thinking. And for all the no coiners of today, who say people who claim nothing has happened yet, or that digital assets and blockchains only have limited use cases such as breaking laws or social contracts, only see patches of the quilt because of our on-demand mentality. We have lost patience. That is a great term, on-demand mentality. Yeah, people, the 80%ers suffer from the on-demand mentality, and they have totally lost patience, and it will cost them. We expect things to work immediately, but this build out is a tectonic shift, not only for those building and participating in these new applications and platforms, but for the people who will eventually use them. It takes time. It takes time, people. It takes time. Go back to that 2013 video and, scream as loud as you can to that guy. Dude, it takes time. I'm here in 2020. Well, almost 2020. It takes time. And if you have that long-term thinking, you got a big Adam Meister smile on your face at the end of the day. Tony Traveler, what a great dude this guy is. He sent $20 and he says, strong hands. Dude, you rock. You have been a great contributor to the show over the years. May you have a great 2020. May the 2020s bring you great wealth. You use $20 there. May you make $20,000. May Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin is one day closer to that all-time high that it previously was at, which was 19,600. I don't know. You fiat freaks tell me. Will we see that in 2020? I don't know. Will we see that by 210,000 blocks after the previous all-time high, which would be about November of 2021? I think so. I think the 210,000 block theory will remain intact and be more than a theory, be real. Okay. Udi Wertheimer, my friend in Tel Aviv. Dude, when you're talking to him in Tel Aviv, he's just a regular dude that loves Bitcoin, sitting there in the Tel Aviv Bitcoin embassy. Little do many of the Israelis know, because Tel Aviv people aren't really on Twitter for some reason. Udi dominates Twitter. Udi is like the most hated man in Ethereum Twitter. I read I treat people's Twitter feeds as blogs. So I read his Twitter feed every day. And I mean, the last week, it's only been about Ethereum and about their hard fork, which is coming up on tomorrow or January 1st. And he says it's going to be a little nasty because it's on a day where hardly anyone is around. I mean, already today, no one's around. Last week, no one was around. So things could happen. I'm not going to go into everything. I'm just telling all the people that want to know more about Ethereum and care about the hard fork and like hearing stuff, reading stuff that Udi puts out there. Check him out. You'll get a big kick out of it. Sure, they might have some problems because of the day they chose for their hard fork. I think that in the long term, Ethereum is the next Ethereum, and all these DeFi guys are going to pump it. DeFi is going to be the catchphrase, the buzzword of 2020, and that will only help Ethereum. What does that really matter for a Bitcoin holder, for a long-term thinker, for a guy who knows that Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin like me? It doesn't really mean anything because I only buy and hold Bitcoin, baby. So good luck to Ethereum. And if you want, Udi is just going wild on it. I just thought I would share that. I linked to Udi before. He's a good guy to follow. I hope he starts tweeting more about Bitcoin again. Guy Bennett sent $10 and he says, here's to a new year full of strong hands and Rockford file J turns. You better believe it. Thanks for all you do every day to inform and enlighten us. Well, thank you, Guy Bennett. Thank you for the contributions throughout this year and the support and that allusion to the Rockford files. My father used to like to watch the Rockford files apparently before I was born because that's what it was around in the old days. And he would always, it was on repeat though, when I was a child. And I just can remember him saying, Rockford, Rockford, this, Rockford, that. And I know he must have loved that gold, what's it, a gold Camaro, gold Trans Am, whatever it is. 1975 gold Trans Am, isn't it? Or Firebird or whatever. They're all the same. It's the same General Motors type of thing. And yeah, that would be fun to get one of them one day just to say, yeah, I got the car that Rockford's got, right? They're not very expensive. I actually looked into it, but again, that's for down the road. Maybe for my grandkids or my siblings' grandkids, whoever's got grandkids first. But no, it puts a big smile on my face when you talk about the Rockford files, and I think about my dad saying Rockford, Rockford. All right, so moving back to Bitcoin. Well, no, actually. Another reminder to everyone, sportsmeister.com. If you don't like seeing my face, you can just listen to the podcast there. And sometimes I do extra podcasts there. And then, you can subscribe to the various podcast companies that rebroadcast my podcast. I don't even get into all that stuff. I just know where I made an easy URL where you could find it, sportsmeister.com. And yeah, I know Sportsmeister has nothing to do. It's just, I own a lot of domain names that have Meister in them. Like, anyway, I'm not going to get into all that, but yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? I wanted to say to everyone that, yes, December 31st, a lot of you are going to be partying. Okay. I'm going to be fasting. I ate tonight. And so it'll be my 36th day of the year that I'm going to skip eating. I'm not going to eat all of December 31st. And then January 1st, I'll eat again. So it'll be like a 44-hour fast. And yeah, and so that means for 10% of the year, 10% of the days of the year, I didn't eat. So that's a pretty, I got that goal. Actually, I think my goal was only to skip a month of the year, but once I skipped a month, I was like, let's get to 10%. And that's 36 days, basically. 36 is 10% of 365, roughly. And I say this, fasting is partying for the disciplined long-term thinker. That's my twist on it. So I will be partying tomorrow, but it'll be the disciplined long-term thinking way of partying. And it definitely is the opposite of what the 80%ers are doing on the 31st. I'm going to walk down to downtown Tucson tomorrow. I think they're going to be lighting some fireworks. There's a bowl game there tomorrow. Some ridiculous bowl game. Wyoming's in it. So maybe if I see some Wyoming people, I'll ask them if they know about how great their state is for Bitcoin. How about that? But I'll actually do a show before tomorrow night. My show tomorrow will probably, I don't know, be around 6 p.m. on the East Coast. I don't know. It's not going to be this late. So catch me tomorrow before I go to downtown and party, which is fasting for Adam Meister. But hey, dudes, fasting, it teaches you discipline. I already knew discipline, but it helps those, you become more of a long-term thinker, because it's all, the reason you fast is to become healthier, but to extend your lifespan potentially, to prevent horrible diseases. And you don't get an immediate fix from it. You're not like, oh yes, I just got rid of that cancer I was going to get tomorrow. No, it doesn't work that way. I mean, some people it does. I think for some people who are very unhealthy, generally, when they fast for a long period of time, they do feel different. They do feel different. But when you're used to it, you're totally used to it. But it does have some health benefits. Watch Saturday shows if you want to hear more about fasting and all that stuff. But hey, it's the end of the year. I thought I'd throw that in on this show. It's nighttime. What the heck? ICOs are another example of how terrible the crowd, quote unquote crowd, is at assessing investments, says Alistair Milne. And he's right about that. I mean, ICOs are examples of the financial due diligence that the bulk of people do in advance, okay? At least in this space. They don't do any research. They don't do any financial due diligence. They jump into coins as a herd. Whatever's hot, ICOs were hot, so all these people piled into it. They didn't investigate the financials behind it. They said some catchphrases, some buzzwords. They were into it. So with that in mind, with that level of research in mind, that ICOs are another example of how terrible the crowd is at assessing investments. How many people in that crowd that assessed ICOs so well? How many of them do you think know about the halving? Now, once the halving hype starts, and which will be soon, then they will find out about it. And like the herd, that's when they come in. But right now, no. Now, it's unfortunate. Still, they'll just pile into it because some smart people will have done their due diligence by then and will start hyping it up and talking about it. And then they'll just repeat the catchphrases. Oh, half as much Bitcoin, or who knows what they'll even say. Half as much new Bitcoin. Just something to keep in mind for the priced in argument people. I think we've kind of beaten that one for a while, but we're on the verge of 2020. So we're going to have a lot of halving talk. Every day it's going to increase and increase until the halving hype starts. Should be very interesting. Should be very interesting. New Year's Eve. Today is New Year's Eve Eve. The 30th is the eve. New Year's Eve Eve. New Year's Eve Eve. And that's kind of like proof of keys to the halving. The halving is New Year's Eve. And that's the day we're going to party in Tel Aviv. It's going to be awesome. But proof of keys on January 3rd, it's like tonight. So you're pretty happy tonight, right? Are you really partying tonight? No. But you're preparing to party. So proof of keys is definitely a day that you prepare. And you prepare by making sure you prepare for safety. You prepare for being a long-term thinker by getting your coins off those exchanges and understanding that if you keep it on those exchanges, you don't really own that Bitcoin. And I want to remind everyone that I am here in Tucson until the 14th of January, which is basically only 2 weeks now. And then I'm off to El Paso, Texas, which I'm looking forward to. I am looking forward to. I believe my father was at Fort Bliss at one point during his days in the reserves. And I believe both my grandfathers were at Fort Bliss, which is in El Paso. And so now I'll be there. Third gen. Now, thank God I'm so proud of the fact that I'll be going to El Paso, not as a soldier, but just as a guy living in such a comfortable time where the people of my country don't have to be in the army anymore, where it's totally optional. And by the way, people, don't join the army. Other people will do it for you. Other people, and by the way, we don't need an army anymore. We don't need an army anymore. That's another reason not to join the army. We should have drones do the whole thing now, okay? We have our technical sophistication is unparalleled, and we don't need human beings anymore if we need to fight a war or to teach some dictator that he shouldn't have done something that he shouldn't have done. All right. But anyway, Yes. So Fort Bliss is on the outskirts of El Paso, I guess. I don't think I'll even see Fort Bliss, but I will be in El Paso. And I will have to research to see which one of my, if it's both my grandfathers and my father. I'm a little confused. I can hear my dad saying Fort Bliss, Fort Bliss. I don't know what the heck he was talking. He might have been talking about his father. I don't know. All right. So there's only one more thing I wanted to say here. And it has nothing to do with Bitcoin. Oh, wait a second. Romy Q said, Bitcoin Meister, what are your plans for January 3rd? Oh, that's a good question. Can't believe it has been a year since you live streamed from the Bitcoin Embassy. Well, it wasn't from the Bitcoin Embassy. It was from Tel Aviv, from this club where we had the halving party. And it was a huge halving party. And there were many hot women there. And it was a good party. They put on a good party, and it was by the people at the Bitcoin Embassy, the same people, and it's going to be the same location for where the halving party is going to be. And I believe they had a 2016 halving party there. It's in South Tel Aviv. But yeah, it has been a year, almost a year. And one thing, and people can watch that, it was technical difficulties throughout, to say the least. Linked to below. But this January 3rd is a Friday. So that means it's going to be This Week in Bitcoin. So I better bring you some good guests that are going to talk about proof of keys. So I am working on that. And I think John is in Malibu tonight. Someone's saying something about John in Malibu. Good. I'll be in Los Angeles starting. And already people from LA are DMing me too, by the way, which I love. But I will be in LA from February 11th until April 6th. And of course, at the end of March, I'll be going up to San Francisco for 2 days for the event up there. So, and then going back to LA. And I guess it's noteworthy for those people who follow the NFL. The Super Bowl will be taking place when I'm in El Paso. I might have to watch the Super Bowl that day for one reason, but we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, but the one thing I want to don't waste your time on that football. By the way, guys, I haven't watched an NFL game since 2015, and that's including this year. Okay, and I am from Baltimore, so I've been true to my getting that out of my life. But as I have said, if the Ravens make the AFC title game or the Super Bowl, I watch those two games. That's always been the rule. And okay, so, and I don't know, I hardly know any of their players' names. I know the quarterback, and I know the running back. Other than that, who else do I know? I don't know. Yanda, I know Yanda. Okay. The thing I wanted to say, it's linked to below. The Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams. That is a good song, man. So as many of you know, I've been starting to listen to music again, because I didn't listen to music for a year. And that's a classic. It's from 1983. And so why not tie everything together that I just talked about? That's good luck that it's from 1983. Good luck to the Ravens, I guess, because that's the year the Orioles last won the World Series, was in 1983. The year that song came out, apparently. It's a good video. A good song. I like the song, at least. Just giving you a little taste of the type of music I like, or the type of popular music I like. It got me excited before the show. So check that out. All right, dudes. That's the end of the show tomorrow. I'll give you something tomorrow afternoon. No other questions. When the Chargers traded Drew Brees, that wasn't good. I forgot. You see, I remember that. Someone just mentioned the Chargers trading Drew Brees. That was he'd already played for them quite a few years. It was because they drafted Rivers, wasn't it? I assume it was because they drafted Rivers. All right. And they got Rivers. They drafted Eli Manning. Eli Manning refused to play for San Diego. I think that was lame. He had a big attitude then. He didn't. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. I still remember all that NFL stuff from when I cared. Remember, I got a good memory. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, check out the links below. Pound that like button, bang that bell button. Remember, tomorrow afternoon. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later. Bye.